Hello and welcome back to Unreal Engine 5 Blueprint Mastery, Door Systems and Interactive Portals. Previously, we finished with the opening and closing of the door. We created a state, so when we are pressing E, we switch based on the state of the door using this enumeration, E door state, which we have open, close, opening and closing, and when the door is closed, it reverses the timeline, or when it's open, it plays it from start. We demonstrated the do once node that while this is running, we are doing this action once and we are resetting it when the timeline has finished. And when the timeline has finished, we are setting the door state to be open or closed. We said that the collision box over here is a little bit small. Now, instead of changing to every door, I'm gonna just go over here and I'm gonna select this, the box, and I'm gonna extend it a little bit more. This seems fine. Maybe a little bit more. Because I don't want this to be too much, because if it's too much, the player will be able to open the door from a greater distance than desired. We could have other mechanics checking for this, but for now, this will do. Some more complex mechanics would include line traces and distance checkers from specific points. So let's consider this fixed. The next thing we should do is have a way to tell to the player you are in range and open or close the door. So what we will use is a widget. We're going to create a blueprint widget that we will add to our viewport, and when the player is near a door, it will say open or close according to the door state. So let's begin by creating a new folder in the content folder that we will call UI. And I'm gonna color code it to a light blue. Great. Now inside here, I'm gonna right click and I'm not gonna go to blueprints because there is no UI blueprint here. Different category, a unique category called user interface, which we can see font, slate, brush and other things. But what we want is a widget blueprint. As with the other blueprints, there's plenty of classes that we can preset, that we can choose from. But what we want is the user widget. We're gonna click on this and we're gonna name it WG door. I think that's fine. And I'm gonna open it. Now, instantly we can see that this is not a usual blueprint interface. This is something different. Well, not exactly, because we are on the designer tab. Over here, there is the graph tab, which is more familiar than when compared to the designer. We do have, though, a difference of events. We have pre-construct and construct instead of begin play. Like if we go here, we have begin play and event actor begin overlap, and tick is the same. Now, pre-construct is kinda like the construction script. It's like running this, but not exactly also. Too many details, I think. Let's focus on the designer tab for now, and we're gonna move to the code a little bit later. So, what are we seeing here? Here we are seeing basically a visual representation of resolutions and how our widget looks on them. It doesn't snap right now because we have nothing in the widget. Second thing we see is the details tab and a palette. A palette has some UI elements like a border, like a button, like a checkbox. These are the common ones, sliders, text. It has also some more advanced like features like inputting text boxes, combo boxes, lists, ways to actually set up the visuals. One of them is the canvas. What is a canvas? In short, it allows us to set a location and scale in the viewport, in the screen size that we want. That doesn't mean that it should necessarily be taking the whole screen. It could be a canvas that is a smaller widget, but it's a reference based on space. Let's say, for example, if I bring a button here, I can say where it is and how big it is. Whereas if I didn't have the canvas and just bring a button, then there is no reference point to it. There's just a resolution. I'm gonna undo. I'm gonna delete the button. Basically, that's what a canvas is. It has a lot more details and characteristics, but in a nutshell, that's what it is. For our case, we'll be using something very simple. Besides the canvas, we won't be using buttons or anything. We will just be using some text. And to make that text take a certain shape, we will use a horizontal box because we want to put two text elements, one which would be the button to press and one which would be the text that says open or close. So even having them separate helps if we were to change the button and of course to change the text close or open, versus we would have to every time to type E open, E close. Now we only have to type open or close. Small difference, but in a larger scale, it would make a difference. Now that I have the horizontal box and I want to anchor it in a certain place, I have this like a flower here that tells to the engine, try to place it somewhere here. There is a lot more functionality to anchors, like I could have the anchor set in the middle and then give an offset to the box that it's based in the middle. There is sizing the box however we want. Right now we won't be bothered with these things. We will just make it to kind of look okay. That would be it. Let's make the resolution a little bit more correct, because I had let it in some random resolution which is not very valid every time. So I'm gonna put it here. HD resolution. I think if we consider that the player is somewhere here, I think if it appears maybe more to the left, center it towards the, yeah, I think that place is fine. And I'm gonna move this anchor. I'm gonna break the anchor also into corners and set it over here. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine where it should appear the open or close and the button that we use. We have our horizontal box and we need to put some elements in it. I'm going to choose a text. I'm going to add it to the horizontal box and I'm going to add another one. The first text would be easy. It would say just E. The second text, actually, let's put also this symbol over here and one space before the symbol. Yeah, this looks better with this symbol. Now, the next thing, it should say open or close. So let's say open and close. It does look okay. We can leave it as is, but let's toy around with it a little bit. Let's say that I want close to be a little bit more to the left. What we're gonna do, instead of changing sizes to fill and horizontal alignments and everything, we're just gonna go down here, which is the render transform, and just move it a little bit to the left. Yeah, by 20 seems fine. Maybe 15. render transform, translation. This is the option, and this moves it a little bit left or right, up and down. You can scale it, you can shear it, you can angle it. This actually angles everything because I haven't chose this. This needs to change 15. Yeah, I think it looks okay. Let's go see it in action. Let's go actually add it to our viewport. I'm gonna compile and save, and let's see our widget. The question comes is, how do I bring a widget, of course, to my viewport, which is just a few nodes and it's there. The other question that comes is, where do I put this code? Where do I use a code that brings the widget into play? Well, we could put it on the door. This means that every door needs to create a widget. Not a very optimal behavior. I could put it on the level blueprint. This means this widget would exist in this level, and it would be created only here. But we are going to have a level that we are transitioning to, and we need this widget to be holded there, be in both levels. So I could use game instance, which runs across the whole game. But if I had main menus, if I had other levels that I wouldn't use this widget, this means that this widget would be in the instance always. So the common denominator that I can use between two levels right now with what we are dealing with would be the game mode. Because this level will be using this game mode, the transition level will be using that game mode. So putting the code here right now for this example makes sense. So I'm gonna browse to our game mode from the world settings. It is the third person. We could find it here also. So inside third person, blueprints, third person game mode. If it opens like this, it's not a problem. This is just basically the defaults of the game mode blueprint. If we go to, let's say, for example, our door and go to our class defaults, we can see these details here. So since we haven't opened the blueprint, this is data only blueprint. We haven't done anything else to it. It shows only the default values. We can click over here, open full blueprint editor, and tada, we can see construction script, viewport, which in game mode has very specific uses, anyway, we won't be bothered with. And what we need is the event graph. And what we will do is call the event begin play, which runs when the game begins. And we're gonna create widget. Now for the class, we're gonna select the widget door, and for the owning player, we're gonna get the player controller. We could have different widgets that belong for a local co-op, for example, and their owner would change based on the player index. If I leave it as is, we won't be able to see the widget because we just created it. We just made a variable out of it. It has not been called on our view. To do this, we need to add to viewport. So this would bring our widget into view. So I'm going to compile and save and go to tutorial map and press play. And here we can see our widget. Basically what we're checking is if it's in a nice position when we want to open and close the door. I think if it pops right there, it's fine. You can place it anywhere else you like. And I think this is it for this one. I'm gonna see you on the next, that we will be implementing the mechanic to show and hide the widget. Goodbye.